The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. It's your boy Kevin Thornton, the Wellness Architect, and you are tuned into the Wellness Architect Show. This is our first show for the new year. So happy new year to everybody who's listening, tuned in on the internet at www.instinctradio.net, and those of you guys who are watching me on Facebook Live. Please call in at 478-569-6474. Once again, 478-569-6474 with any content, any comments, questions, or texts. We're going to be a very interactive show. You know, this is 2018, so, new year. Everybody wants to know about how to lose weight, and we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about mental health as well. We got a great guest for you today. Very amazing guy. I met him on Instagram, but we went to the same school together. We both went to Integrated Institute of Nutrition for our degrees in holistic health coaching, and so he's doing great things in the community. I wanted him to come out and tell us about what he's doing. I'm talking about health and nutrition for 2018. And also, me, I'm all about trying to promote black men who's doing great things, try to change the narrative of how people see us as black men and not fit the narrative that society and TV has put on us. So he is one of the kind of guys that I wanted selected, and he's going to tell us a lot about what he got going on. So without further ado, I have Mr. Christopher Milton on the show. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Oh, before I get started with him, I want to talk about, as you know, it's the new year, and everybody's doing the new hit diets or meal plans. Before you do a meal plan change or any kind of diet, you should do some kind of a detox. So I'm also doing the 7-day, 14-day, and 30-day detoxes. So those who already are starting the program with me, thank you. Those who still want to do it, please reach out to me on Facebook at Kevin Thornton or also on Instagram at The Wellness Architect. So we have 7-day, 14-day, and 30-day detox. So Chris.
Yes, sir.
Tell everybody who you are, what you do, and how'd you get to this point, what you're doing right now.
All right. Well, my name is Chris Milton, and I have an organization called Project Health and Wellness. And the reason why I started the organization initially was to give back to the community. I've always been into health and wellness. I was a police officer for several years and played college basketball, certified personal trainer. And I wanted to find a way to empower my community to be more mindful of their health, their wellness, their personal growth and development. So my organization has been in existence now for about a year.
Okay.
And that's what that's what my mission is. I look at it as a ministry and a way for me to leave my legacy.
I like that. So what all do your organization do?
Well, initially we started out just hosting free classes in the community, and these classes it consisted of health and wellness, just a basic health and wellness class. Nothing too elaborate, just how to eat, how to live. We did a yoga class, and then from yoga we did a juicing class where I actually brought in a juicing company, and they taught the class how to juice and what juices are important for the body. And then we did just a basic exercise, how to get fit. And so what we do is we just go to different organizations, different communities, partner up, and we talk about health and wellness, personal growth and development. We want to bring awareness to mind, body, and spirit.
Exactly.
And I feel that as a society, as a culture, we place a lot of emphasis on the physical. I mean, you can see it on social media. If someone posts the picture of themselves, I mean, we love it. We get into that. But we're all a lot more deep-rooted than just the physical. And that's the part where I'm trying to bring more awareness to.
Exactly. Because it's funny you said that, because if I don't take a lot of pictures, but I probably should, but when I do put a picture of myself out there, I get a lot of likes. Yeah. But if I put a picture of a quote, or if I type a quote, it's not as many likes as you get as a picture.
Right.
And it's like, okay, but the quote is to inspire you to be better and do better. But it's like they don't get really caught up into that. They get more caught up into the picture, like the aesthetics of everything. Right. And it's how do we get past that?
I'm still trying to figure that out. One of the things we talk about in the class is that if you focus on the physical, on the outside you can look healthy, but if your inside is not healthy, then eventually your physical is going to break down. You know, we have to start thinking a lot deeper. I think when we post pictures of ourselves in the physical, yeah, that's the surface. But we are much more rooted. We're deep rooted. And a lot of us, we look physically healthy, but on the inside, we're sick. And you'll be amazed on how many people I come across that they look physically fit, but they're always fatigued, or they have high stress, or poor work-life balance.
Yep.
And eventually, it's going to catch up to their physical.
Right.
You know, so, I mean, even though, like, when I'll post quotes for inspiration, you know, I don't get a good return, but, you know, my thought process, Kevin, if it's only one person
Exactly.
that reads that quote and gets something from that quote, then I've done my job.
Exactly. What I think we society has, and I guess the whole thing of social media has created, is if you don't get a lot of likes, it's not popping.
Right.
And I don't really get caught up into that too much, because I've learned since doing this that everybody, especially men will read your post and they might read it every day.
Right.
But they'll never like it.
Right.
So, you know, it does a disservice to just think that, you know, people are not paying you no attention by the number of likes you have. I get guys, you know, from college and high school and stuff, they'll inbox me and say, you know, if I wish them happy birthday, they'll inbox me and say, thank you for the birthday wish. Keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
I'll never like your post. But I appreciate what you're doing.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, people say something. Some people I haven't seen like since high school. I'll see them. I go home sometime. I see them. I follow you, and I'm like, what? But that's what it is. So I think a lot of times we get too caught up on the likes and the number of followers we have.
We do.
Because I think what I've got to the point now is, I don't care how many followers I have, because I want the people who follow me to follow me because they really want to grow with me.
Absolutely.
Not because anything that, you know, if you're not really trying to really grow mind, body, and spirit, I'm good on that one.
Absolutely.
So I want to attract people who want to let me help them as I help myself.
Absolutely. Right.
So tell us how you went from becoming a cop to this. And what made you become a cop first?
Wow. So my father was a police officer.
Okay.
And my mom didn't tell me my father was a cop until I actually applied to become a police officer.
Wow.
Yeah. Like she didn't want me to go down that route.
Okay.
You know, for various reasons. And I landed into it. But as my time as a police officer, I learned a lot. I saw a lot. I experienced a lot. You know, I came to the realization of the importance of working on mind, body, and spirit. You know, I was a very physical cop. I was 240 pounds. I was benching 505, you know, squatting 1,000 pounds. But the spiritual side of me wasn't there. You know, I was going to church, but I wasn't being in tune with myself. But it was one of those professions where it was a physical profession, and I had always been a physical person. And so I decided to, you know, give it a shot. And so for me, it was a way to give back to the community. You know, by serving and protecting. So
Okay.
That's how I got into it.
Now, before we started, we was talking, and you said that, you know, there's no holds barred. We can talk about anything. And you mentioned that you battled depression. Was working as a cop one of the causes of the depression?
It did. You know, working as a police officer and in my personal life,
Okay.
because I didn't have a good work-life balance.
Okay.
You know, I was working all the time, of course. It was high stress, and it just caught up to me. You know, it was, you know, my relationships were not panning out. You know, financially I was struggling. You know, of course, the stress affected my health. I was in and out of the doctor's office for stomach issues. I was battling high blood pressure, so I was diagnosed with high blood pressure when I was 18 years old.
Wow.
You know, so of course, being a police officer and dealing with that amount of stress, my blood pressure was 160 over 90 consistently.
Wow.
Consistently, and then with all of that, and then being in that type of environment, and if you don't have a good balance, it can cause you to sink really quick.
Okay.
Real quick. And you know, we mentioned before about my father.
Right.
You know, my father ended up committing suicide. You know, he was a police officer for several years, and it caught up to him, and then he ended up taking his life. And so when I was battling with depression, I remember one day it was a bad day, and I was, and a lot of people don't know this. Of course, I'm being vulnerable here, but I was suicidal. And people don't really understand, like, if you never experienced depression, it's almost like someone has their foot on your chest, and they're pressing into your chest, and you can't breathe, and you're just trying to find a way to breathe, and you can't.
So what caused you to get past it?
Wow. So, when I realized spiritually, when I realized like I was lacking spiritually, I had to dive deep into that. From scripture, I actually rededicated myself. When I was going through that phase, no one could have helped me through that. No one. I was in a dark space, and I remember one day my mom came over to my house, and my house was filthy. Like, you could tell something was wrong, and what really got me over that point was when she said, "Chris," like, her eyes started watering. She said, "Chris, don't do anything crazy."
Because she kind of probably knew.
Well, she knew, and then plus my father too.
Right.
I mean, she experienced with my father. She saw what he went through, and she was like, "Don't do anything crazy. Don't do it." And when I saw her and I saw the look on her face, I was like, "Okay, I got to get it together."
Right.
I had to push through.
Right. So how old were you when your dad?
I was 2 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 2.
So how was it for you growing up with a single mom?
Wow, it was challenging. Yeah, of course, you're growing up in the 70s, 80s, you only had 2 options, especially as a black male. Either you're going to go to jail or you're going to be dead before you're 21. Thank God I had a mom that she had my back. As far as my education, I got kept back. But because of my mom and her having my back, they actually put me back in my rightful grade. I had some learning disability issues. I had some social issues. And even as a child, I was dealing with mild depression. Because when you're talked about, when you're made fun of, your first thought is why am I here? What's my purpose? And, I remember times when I was like 12, 13 years old, and I was like, man, why am I here? What's my purpose? But it was a struggle. It was tough. And kids can be cruel because they, if you don't have the mother and the father, and they just see the mother, it's like, oh, where's your father at? And then of course you miss that component when you're playing sports and you see all the fathers in the stand, and then your father's not there.
Yeah.
So it was tough.
So the fact your father wasn't there, how did it really? Because I think sometimes people don't really understand how it affects men when their father's not there.
Yeah.
Whether like yours passed away or, they're just not present or whatever the situation may be.
Right.
I think people really don't understand how it can affect that man.
No, they don't. They don't. And my mom had to be the mother, and she had to be the father. So she had to keep that balance. She didn't want me to come out being too soft, but at the same time, she had to instill the values of being a man. And thank God I have a mom that, she laid it out for me. So I really owe it to her because I didn't have a father figure.
Right.
I didn't have a male figure in my life to help me along the way.
Right.
So it was between God and my mom.
Okay. Yeah. So how'd you start getting into fitness then from there?
Well, of course, in high school I played high school ball, and then I played college ball for a couple of years. And
Where at? What school?
Well, I started at Brevard College up in Brevard, North Carolina for a couple of years. I did that, and then I transitioned to Valdosta State University where I graduated. I didn't play ball there, but I was always active. And especially me dealing with high blood pressure, it was, Chris, you got to keep moving. You got to make sure you take care of yourself. And then I got into bodybuilding. And I was that weight meathead. I was always in the gym lifting weights.
Right.
And when I graduated from college, I went from 225 to 240.
Wow.
And my thing was I wanted to be as big as I could possibly be. I wanted to be as strong as I could possibly be. but there wasn't really a health component to that.
Right.
It was more so I wanted to look a
Certain,
specific
yeah,
way. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I wanted to be big. I wanted to be swole. I wanted to be that guy
Yeah.
where I'm in the club and you bump into me.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me you're sorry.
That was my mindset.
You know what I mean? That's what I wanted. And,
That was
and,
my mindset.
and I got it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I had 19-inch arms. You know, I couldn't even buy suits. I was a big
Yeah.
boy. But I was unhealthy.
Yeah, that was me. Like my brother and I would battle all the time because he was a lean guy, and I always said I wanted to be a football player type guy. So,
Right.
you know, Eddie Jones is like my prototypical type dude that I wanted to be like, and so I wanted that 18 and a half neck and
Right.
big arms, and I wanted to get to like 245. And I did,
Right.
and then I got to 260, then I got to 270. I was like, okay, this is too much. And now that I got older, I want to be more like 195.
Right.
And it's hard for people who always see me in like the 220s and 230s to say I want to be 195
Right.
because they say that's too skinny. I said, but no, I feel it's best for me.
Right.
And everybody want to put what they like for you on you, but you gotta do what's best for yourself.
Absolutely.
So what made you drop down? How much you weigh now?
So I'm about 200 now.
So what made you go from 240 to 200?
When I hit 30,
Okay.
and I went to the doctor, and he was like, "Do you do cardio at all?" And I was like, "Well, a little bit. I do a little bit of cardio." And he was like, "You're gonna have to start doing some cardio." And at 30, I made a complete change. I went from a meat eater to a vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
It was a slow process. And I started doing more running. I got into marathons and half marathons and training.
So you still a vegetarian now?
So I'm more vegan, more plant-based now.
Okay, we're gonna talk about that.
So I'm more plant-based now, and I was able to drop the weight. So in about 3 months, I dropped 50 pounds.
See, not Ned, but our other producer and the owner of the station, he went vegetarian.
Okay.
And I'm trying to convince him to do vegan. I'm doing 5 days right now because I did vegetarian before, and I went cold turkey, and I did good for like five months, and then I went into like Kroger, and I smelled that rotisserie chicken, and I broke down. So this time I'm just gonna ease my way in, so I won't miss anything.
Absolutely.
Get the taste out of everything. So now I could do 5 days of vegan, and I'm good.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of YouTubing and just to figure out recipes, stuff like that, to get myself on there. And then, so by the end of 2018, I'll be complete vegan.
Okay, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
So, and we both went to the same college in school. And so they teach us to be like bio-individuality. But I do believe, and I agree with that, but I do believe vegan, plant-based is probably the best way to go.
Yeah.
And I want you to tell them why first.
Well, as a vegetarian, I was unhealthy. I was a vegetarian, but I ate a lot of cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love cheese. It was cheese pizza. Everything I had cheese. Grits.
Yeah.
Everything had to have cheese. And I noticed that I felt very sluggish.
Mhm.
I was still having high blood pressure issues, and I just didn't have the energy. And I was still consuming a lot of sweets. But I felt a little bit more healthier than when I was eating meats. And let's say about 3 years ago, I decided to kind of touch into the plant-based. You know, at one point in my life, I was like, I would never do vegan. I eat plants, forget that.
Right.
I'm not even going to do it.
Yeah.
There's no way in the world I can go all raw. And, and I have I ain't going to say a funny story, but I attempted to go raw. And I did it wrong.
Right.
And almost died at a race because I was starving myself.
Okay.
And I didn't know it.
Okay.
So I was juicing, I was eating a lot of salads, but I wasn't getting the nutrients.
Okay.
And so what I tell people, if you're going to go into becoming a vegan, you got to learn your body type.
Yeah.
Because see, everybody's body is different. So there's certain nutrients, there's certain minerals that you need.
Right.
And for me, with my body type, I'm muscular, so I wasn't getting the nutrients. And so I did the HBCU 5K. I ran my best time about 5 minutes after the race. I had problems breathing, and thank God there was somebody there to assist me, because I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
But I tell everybody, if it's vegan, if plant-based, make sure you do your research.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done mine. And when clients come to me, I always ask them some pertinent questions. Of course, I ask them about their blood type and all this kind of
Right,
stuff.
right.
So I get an idea, because that plays a part sometimes too on how your body process foods and all
Yes.
this kind of stuff like that.
Yes.
So I can know when I create meal plans for them, because might have them do my detoxes. The detox is completely raw
Okay.
for 7, 14, or 30 days.
Okay.
And they feel like they can't do it,
Mm-hmm.
but after like once they do 7 days, they see a big change in 7 days. I had people lose between 7 to 23 pounds, and they reset their body, because a lot of people are constipated and they just don't know they're constipated. A lot of women are constipated because I've got women saying they only go to the bathroom once or twice a week. I'm like, and so when I get to them at least through 7 days, I get them to at least go once a day,
Right.
which I tell them you really need to do it again,
Right.
because you need to be able to go after every meal.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And they not, it's hard for them, but because everybody's so stuck on the meats, and like you said, the cheese. I think cheese is the number one thing that people have a hard time
Yeah.
getting rid of.
Right. Which causes inflammation.
Exactly.
So if we wonder why we're always in pain, our joints hurt, it's because of the cheese, the
Right.
dairy products. But going back to your question, when I decided to do the plant-based, I did a 30-day trial where I just did nothing but fruits and vegetables
Okay.
for 30 days, and my body went crazy. It was like crazy. And even though I was vegetarian, going and transitioning to vegan, my body was like, "What is this?" Like
Right.
I was experiencing headaches. I was nauseous. I mean, it was everything. But after my body got used to it, I started to feel better. I had energy. I was sleeping better. I was more alert. I didn't have brain fog. And from that point, I was like, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
I'm hooked. And I try to tell people it's a mindset. It's how you think. If you have to look at food differently. So when I look at food, my first thought is, I say 98% of the time is, how is this going to fuel my body?
Right.
How is it going to give me the energy that I need to get through my day,
Right.
to serve my purpose, to be productive?
Right.
That's how I look at it now.
Right.
And it's only about a 5% of the time that I don't, where you want to live a little bit, so you got to have balance.
Right.
So I still like to indulge in certain foods, but 95% of the time is, how can I fuel my body?
So is there a certain amount? Do you do a lot of cooked foods, or do you do like some raw and some cooked? Or
Yeah, so I do mostly raw. I want to say I'm about 90 to 95% raw.
Really?
And the only time so at my house, I don't cook. Periodically, I might make some tofu or maybe some sauteed spinach, but other than that, it's typically salads.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's about 90,
'Cause
95%.
that's what I've been looking at.
Yeah.
When I do YouTube, I've been looking at a lot of the raw vegan people, and that's where I've been leaning towards. And actually, I'm gonna have somebody on the show sometime this month. I think it might be next week after you.
Okay.
And she went to IAN too, and she's into raw foods as well.
Okay.
Because that's where I'm leaning towards.
Yeah.
And I'm into vegetables now anyway, but I just got, for me, it's just learning how to prepare it in ways that I won't get bored. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so you eat more fruits? You eat?
I don't do a lot of fruits.
Okay.
I eat a lot of strawberries
Okay.
and blueberries for the antioxidants.
Right.
That's every day.
Okay.
Every day. But I do a lot of spinach and a lot of kale.
Okay.
And I don't get bored, funny enough.
Okay.
I don't. And when you've done raw for so long, and then you start eating cook, you feel the difference.
I heard that.
Like you feel, I'm sluggish, I'm sleepy, and
Okay.
I don't like the feeling.
So do you do a lot of smoothies too?
I used to do a lot of smoothies. So I always recommend for anyone that's trying to transition into that lifestyle is just do smoothies. Because with smoothies, you can make sure you're getting your nutrients. But once you start to graduate, I put the smoothies to the side. But you
Okay.
have to know your body, though.
Right.
But I don't do smoothies as much as I used to.
Okay.
But I also incorporate intermittent fasting as well.
So for those who don't know what that is, tell them what that is.
So it's basically your body is not eating you're not eating for a period of time. It can be 12, 14, 16 hours, or 24 hours. For me, my typical fasting period is for 16 hours.
Okay.
So I will in my last meal around 8.
In the evening?
8 in the evening, maybe a little bit earlier, and then I won't eat again until 12. But lately, I've been pushing it to about 17 to 18 hours.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you must don't go to the gym in the morning then?
I do.
So you work out on while you've been fasting?
I do. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've had to learn. But you gotta understand, I've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
I've had to learn my body.
Right.
And I know how far to take my body. I mean, I've done triathlons on an empty stomach before.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'm able to maintain my weight too, which is very surprising to me.
Okay, so most folks do drop a lot of weight in the beginning.
They do.
When they become vegan.
Yeah.
Or even vegetarian.
Yeah.
So how do you maintain your weight?
You know, that's tough
Mm-hmm.
because I have some pretty good genetics.
Mm-hmm.
I can get really skinny.
Okay.
I had a friend of mine today tell me she was going through some pictures and she's like, Chris, like, you look really sick here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have pictures of me where I'm 215.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's weight training. So I
Okay.
always tell anyone, you know, if you want to go this plant-based vegan lifestyle, you got to hit the gym.
Yeah.
Because if not, you'll waste weight depending on your body type.
Yeah.
You know, but you also have to understand too, a lot of vegan foods, of course, they're better than, you know, the American standard diet, but they're still high in sodium.
Yeah.
You know, they can still be unhealthy.
Yeah.
You know, so you can still
What's-
be an overweight vegan.
I know some.
Yeah.
I know some. And I think the reason is because, you know, the Food Administration and companies know that vegan is the new thing now.
Right, it's a fact.
And so now everybody wants to get, if they got to try to find a way to get that profit in there.
Yeah.
And so if they say this is vegan, people will buy it.
Yeah.
But, you know, just because it's vegan don't mean it's good for you.
Oh, it doesn't. And I tell people that all the time.
You
Just
know, you
'cause
can
it's
still
vegan.
eat French fries and
Right.
be vegan.
Yeah, absolutely. You can eat Oreos
And
and still be vegan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you could do all that kind of stuff and still don't lose the weight to be unhealthy because you're not making the good choices. So, so tell us about like the personal training and why you kind of like, you know, why you started doing personal training and why you like easily end up like easing out of it.
So I was personal training for about a couple of years, but I had always trained.
Mm-hmm.
And what I noticed with a lot of my clients is that I would get them to a certain point,
Right.
and then 6 months later they would come back and they would gain all that weight back. And I'm sitting here thinking like, man, like all that work we put in, you've made this complete reverse. But I feel like it was a disservice to them because I wasn't focusing on why they were gaining the weight.
Mm-hmm.
It was, let me get the weight off. I'm going to send you on your way, and you're going to have to maintain that. But we have to understand that weight gain is a symptom.
Yep.
It's a symptom. So that means there is some type of imbalance in your life
Yep.
that is causing you to gain the weight.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be poor work-life balance,
Mm-hmm.
or it can be just a lack of discipline, which so many of us struggle with is discipline.
Yep.
And I decided to take a step back from personal training because I didn't feel it was fair.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these individuals were paying me money to train them,
Mm-hmm.
and the majority of them, which I had a few, but the majority of them would come back and end up gaining the weight back, which happens to a lot of us.
Mm-hmm. And I think because, and when you said to me earlier, I talked about that because, like I told you, I taught spin classes, and I had people losing weight left and right, you know, because I was very intense, you know. I was more into power, speed, and endurance. They burnt a lot of calories,
Right.
and they was losing 20, 30, 60 pounds. But then once I left and went to another gym, they put the weight back on, everything like that. And so it's like, what happened? You know, I did all this hard work, and it's like, so it's like you said, they never. Then one time I went to school, I realized they was out of balance.
Yeah.
And, you know, I always, when I start doing any kind of health coaching, I asked them, where are you out of balance at? And they never even thought about it. And then it's sad to hear that sometimes I get the responses back, and it's like all 4 areas: spirituality, relationships, their career, and lifestyle
Right.
is all out of balance. I'm
Right.
like, okay, so where do you want to start at
Right.
to get back in balance? And
Right.
which one would be the easiest one first to get back in balance with it? And like you said, they know they're out of balance, but they don't want to deal with the issues.
No. And that's the reason why I prefer the coaching
Mhm.
side of it. And I still do. And I'm still willing to do personal training, but it has to be included with the coaching aspect
Mhm.
because I have to sit down with an individual and dive deep into their
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Okay? I want to know about your relationships.
Yeah.
I want to know about, what are your eating habits. I want to know if you're sleeping. I want to know what kind of stress you're under.
Mhm.
Because if you don't focus on those areas first,
Mhm.
then all that effort you put in to help them lose that weight,
Right.
they're going to end up gaining that weight right back.
Right. It's funny. 'Cause I'm a very direct guy, and I remember my aunt. She's not gonna be watching this, but she has some knee issues, and she's overweight. And I called her, and she's like, "My knee hurts, blah blah blah." I said, "But did you do what the doctor told you to do?"
Right.
And she said, "Nope," because he had told her to lose some weight. So I said, "So answer me this question." I said, "When did you stop loving yourself?" And she said, "Who said I don't?" I
Right.
said, "You do."
Right.
She said, "What do you mean by that?" I said, "Because the doctor told you you need to lose weight. Because you need to get some of that weight off that knee. And you have made a conscious choice not to lose weight.
Right.
So what you're telling yourself and you're telling God, you're telling the universe is, I don't love myself enough
Yeah.
to do what I need to do to help myself get better." And she said, "I never thought about it like that." So once again, when did you stop loving yourself?
Right.
And she said, "I got to get back with you on that one."
Yeah.
And she never got back with me because it's something that she doesn't want. They don't want to deal with that.
Right.
So what can we do as coaches to get these people to be willing to dive into, especially everybody, but really our community, because our community is so overweight. But we also are very religious, which is a true disconnect.
Right.
So how can we?
Well, that was a great question. Like, do you love yourself? And it's called self-care. And we put so much value into things that have no meaning. Now we'll go out here and we'll spend money on a car, but we won't get a personal trainer, or we won't get a coach, right? Or we'll go out here and buy a pair of new shoes, but then we won't get the fruits and vegetables because we think it's too expensive.
Exactly.
And a lot of it comes down to it's a value system.
Right.
It's what do you value?
Right.
Some of us, and you made a great point about the spirituality. And one of the things I want to do this year is to tap into the churches, because we look at the mega churches. For the most part, they have some type of physical program. The smaller churches don't. They put a lot of emphasis on the spirituality. But God wants us to take care of our temple. But are we really taking care of our temple if we're eating an abundance of meat? If we're not putting the right nutrients in our bodies? How do we change that is to help people change their mindset. And the question, which to me is a very profound question, is, do you love yourself? Do you care about yourself enough to make that change? But it goes back to that word, that discipline, that self-discipline, is that a lot of us, we lack that. We're easily tempted. We're easily distracted.
Right.
I was talking to someone the other day. I was like, imagine if you're going past Krispy Kreme, and for 3 weeks straight you've been doing excellent on your meal planning, and you see the hot sign come up, and you go into Krispy Kreme and you get those donuts, but it's not a failure yet because you haven't eaten the donuts. Then you have the donuts in the car, and then you go home and you're looking at those donuts, and then you have a choice: do I eat the donut and may take 10 steps back, or do I take these donuts and give them to my neighbor?
Right.
But unfortunately, it's that self-discipline, and it's the value system. It's what we place value on.
Exactly.
And a lot of people don't place value on their health. They don't. And we'll work 80 hours and kill ourselves. but then we won't go to the doctor or we won't take care of ourselves.
Yep.
And going back to what you're saying, Kevin, it's that balance.
Yeah, and it's crazy because once I started this journey and I started becoming a coach, because I started off as a life coach first, and then got the whole health and wellness going on with that. I talked to someone who's like a business coach to me, and she told me, I have to be open. She said, even though I'm very passionate about my race and trying to help them with their health and wellness, if I want to survive financially, then I have to make sure that I go to other races, because other races tend to be more into health and wellness and personal development than us. And because, we're more into the aesthetics, the weaves, the lashes, the clothes, the shoes. We'll pay all kind of money for that type of stuff. But to get a life coach, they're on a budget. To go to a health coach, they're on the budget. If I say the 7-day, 14-day detoxes, if I offer for free, they gung ho.
Right, absolutely.
But if I tell you gotta pay, they're not gonna do it. And I'm like, okay, but this is for you. And then why are you not willing to invest in you? But you are willing to spend $200-$300 for some hair.
Right.
Go to see Beyonce and you stand in line at MAC paying $65-$70 an hour to get your makeup done for a concert, but yet you won't pay for organic or a health coach, and you have high blood pressure, diabetes, and all this kind of stuff. I don't get it. And so I taught a class one time. I had 2 pastors in my spin class, and I asked them. I said, why is health and wellness not spoken upon that much in church? And he said, you want the truth? I said, yeah. He said, money. He said, the reality is we have a lot of power as pastors, but the other reality is the church members have a lot of power because they determine what we're going to talk about.
Right.
Because if they don't want to hear it, they're not going to put money in the offering, or they're not going to come. So, and most people don't want to be told how to eat. They don't really, he said, do they need to hear about health and wellness? Absolutely. But they don't want to hear it. So they don't talk about it, which is unfortunate.
Yep.
So then, once again, what do we do?
To keep doing what we're doing.
Right.
And you have to stay encouraged. I want to go back to what you were saying about the numbers. When we look at social media, the biggest thing is likes. And that boosts our confidence. So if I post a picture and 200 people like it, but that didn't serve them any value, then what was the point? And don't get it wrong. I mean, I understand the whole concept of it.
Right.
But I look at it as it's a ministry, and you have to just keep.
Right.
You have to keep putting that mindset. You're going to have to put that information out there no matter what. And even if you only save a couple of people.
Right.
We know that we're not going to be able to affect the masses, but if it's only 15, 20 people, I mean, Kevin, you've done your job, man.
That's true. That is true.
You've done your job, and you can't. And I've learned that goes back, walk by faith and not by sight. Because if I would have focused on the numbers when I first started, I would have quit a long time ago.
Exactly.
I've had classes where 2 people showed up, and I have put in a lot of effort. And I could have quit, but I was like, something. These 2 people were meant to be here, so I'm gonna give them 120%. But for me, Kevin, that motivates me to keep going.
Right.
Because I don't want to. I'm not gonna give up just because 2 people didn't come to the class. Those 2 people that now have a different perspective on health.
So you did something this year or last year that is on my to-do list for 2018, and you did a retreat.
Yes.
How did that go? How did you get to that point you wanted to do one, and how did it go?
Okay, so here's the story. So about 3 years ago, I went to a silent retreat. It's a monastery up in Conyers, Georgia, and I wanted to recenter myself. I was in a relationship, it didn't work out, and I just felt lost.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the retreat. It was a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
I came out as a different person. And I actually have a mentor named Brother Michael,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a monk.
Mm-hmm.
And for about 2 years, he would counsel me with spiritual counseling,
Mm-hmm.
and he of course he was seeing what I was doing, and he said, "Well, Chris, do you want to do a health and wellness retreat?"
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." But what I was telling you earlier, Kevin, is the mindset of someone going to a silent retreat in a monastery
Mm-hmm.
is going to be a lot different from someone going to your local community to get a health and wellness class.
Mm-hmm.
But to answer your question, it was great. I had about 8 people.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've learned is when you do a health and wellness retreat at a monastery, they want to focus more on the spiritual side.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of the physical, but they want to know how they can become healthier spiritually.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you do it when you do it again, it's gonna be more focused on spiritual.
So it's going to be more focused on spiritual. So I'm going to have the health and wellness retreats going to be August 3rd,
Mhm.
4th, and 5th. And it's going to be more surrounded around personal growth and development on a spiritual aspect.
Okay.
I'll touch a little bit about the physical, but mainly the spiritual. And then
Okay.
how can we develop within? Because my main focus, Kevin, is to change this.
Right.
Because I can give you all the information in the world about what you should eat, how you need to work out.
Mm-hmm.
But if this is not changed,
Right.
it's not going to matter.
Exactly. So for those who's listening who is interested in going to your retreat, how can they find out more about it?
Well, if you follow me on Facebook, you can follow me at Project Health and Wellness on Facebook and Instagram.
Mhm.
You can go to my website, which is www.projecthealthandwellness.com.
Okay.
Or you can either email me at chris@projecthealthandwellness.com.
Okay. So that's August 3rd through
August 3rd through the 5th. And it's the Trappist Monastery in Conyers, Georgia.
Okay.
And if you Google it, you can go on there, on the retreats,
Mhm.
and you'll see health and wellness.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I might have to check that out.
Yeah, it's Kevin, what I learned is the power of silence,
Mm-hmm.
because we want to be entertained by cell phones and by each
Yeah,
other.
it's funny you said that because one of my buddies, he had an amazing way. He had an amazing year last year. Now he's doing something really big this year. Actually, next week. But he's really big into that.
Is he?
So he taught spin like me, but he also taught yoga.
Okay.
And his vision now is like he's been teaching yoga inside like the CAB schools,
Nice.
and charter schools, teaching. So he have the kids doing yoga before they start school and all that kind of stuff, and meditation, all that kind of stuff. So he would go to like you said, retreats, and his would be like a week long, and they're not talking. And I'm like, and he said, but he says that they are like completely connected. He's connected to these people. Like if you and I went to your silent retreat.
Mm-hmm.
He said that even though I never said a word to you,
Mm-hmm.
we're connected.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how are y'all connected? And y'all don't say a word. You don't really get to know who this person is because you just, he said, but the energy of each person while we sitting there, it connects you.
Right.
And he
right,
said those are some of like his best friends that he's ever made.
right.
Because I said, really? And he was like, yeah. So I've been looking into that. So now that I met you, I said, now I have to try to do
you
it.
have to. And I recommend everyone, if you've never been to a silent retreat, go to one, because the experience it's amazing, because you tap into that mind, body, and spirit. So the cool thing about this retreat
Mm-hmm.
is all healthy foods. So you're not eating
Okay.
anything bad. I mean, you are really getting to learn yourself. And my mom, she went, and it was a culture shock for her.
Really?
She was scared. I mean,
Really?
plus she's a talker.
Uh-huh.
So she was like, I want to talk. How can people just pass me and not speak? I was like, this is a silent retreat.
Mhm.
You're not supposed to be speaking.
Right.
But she got into it.
So what exactly do y'all do in the silent retreat? I'm really interested. And I hope a friend of mine, my neighbor, I told you before I started, we've been neighbors since I was in the first grade and she was in kindergarten. And she's really been getting on me about doing a retreat.
Mm-hmm.
And now this is like really intriguing me. So
Yeah.
this might be something I could try to research maybe in Cleveland, or maybe have to do it down here.
Yeah.
and have them come down here and just do it.
Well, the cool thing about the retreat that I hosted, you have a lot of free time, and like we have classes that are based on different subject matters, but you also have that time to reflect. And you get a chance to live the life of a monk, so you'll follow the day of a monk, and which if you've never seen that before, it's totally amazing. Individuals that have that much dedication. And you go to the class, teach for about an hour, and then from there you get a chance to just walk. You find that solitude. You can go to the lake, or you can go into one of the meditation rooms, or you can read your Bible, whatever you need to do to find yourself. Because there's no exact structure to it, because people come for different reasons. Some people come because they just found out they just been diagnosed with an illness, or some people might come if they just had a divorce. So it is all up to the person on what they want to make out of it.
Wow.
It's deep.
Wow, okay.
It's deep. And it's not for everybody.
Right.
Everybody can't.
So when y'all have the classes, so what do they teach y'all in the class?
So so I got my certification, my main certification through John Maxwell.
Okay.
Not familiar with him. He's a speaker, coach, and trainer, leadership.
That's my next goal.
Okay. So he speaks on leadership. The first is on the 15 invaluable laws of growth. And we talk about what laws to help us grow spiritually, mentally, and physically. And then I'll also share with them things that I do to stay positive, like reading affirmations, writing out goals, reading spiritual books to keep myself lifted. I even share some of my journal, because I journal as well.
I do too.
And and of course, this last year it was like I said, it wasn't centered so much around spirit. It was around spirituality, but then we also had yoga, and we had the Living Foods Institute. Are you familiar with that?
I am.
Okay, so Jane came out and she talked about the different programs that they have.
Okay.
So it was educational, but again, moving to this year, I wanted to be more centered around the spiritual side.
Okay, so what would you do this time compared that's different?
Well, we would focus more on the 15 invaluable laws. I don't know if you ever picked up that book before.
I have.
Okay,
I'm a fan of his.
Okay, it's a great book, and we didn't dive in deep into it, but this year we're gonna dive in deep.
Right.
And I want more interaction.
Okay.
Where it's more, you're talking to me, I'm talking to you, and how can we grow together?
Right. And one of the things I try to tell people all the time is I've been journaling since a while, and but in the past maybe 5 years, I have 2 journals. I have one that I journal for every day, my everyday thoughts, write my goals down. Then I have my other journal, which is my gratitude journal. And I write what I'm grateful for every day. Even on the bad day, I'm grateful. And I think that's people don't understand, and I tell this story, and I said one thing I'm gonna do better on this year is make videos, because I think that will help speak to people better.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be one of the ones, I'm gonna force myself to talk about when I got bit by the spider, because people don't really understand, like, especially like the people at the hospital, they really couldn't understand how I could be so positive while I was in the hospital and I was battling, possible amputation and all that kind of stuff, and then my kidneys was out of order while I was there. But I always stayed positive. I was always chipper, while I was there. Everything was pleasing, thank you. And even once I got out the hospital, family and friends, they was upset because at the hospital I went to, they took my phone. And my phone was in security, so I didn't have, cell phone now, you don't know nobody's number. So I couldn't call nobody. So when I called my mother, she didn't say anything. And that's how I feel that the universe wanted it. They knew she's not going to say anything. And that way I was able to rest and get my thoughts together and come back refreshed. But when I tell people that, they don't get it. I say, it worked out how he wanted to work out. And so when I tell them that was one of the biggest things I'm grateful for. I'm not, nobody wants to go to the hospital, but I'm grateful for the situation because it taught me a lot about myself. It taught me where I need to go because it forced me to stop doing one thing so I can focus on the true gift that I have.
Absolutely.
And I think people don't get that part. I think they go through a tough time. They try to figure out why me. It's
Right.
not why you, it's why not you. And the question you should ask yourself is, what I'm supposed to learn
Right.
from this. And what I try to tell people all the time too is that it's about working on who you are, and as you change as a person, who you attract around you changes. Who I was 2-3 years ago, I would never met you 2-3 years ago
Right.
because I was a different person.
Right.
And so now everybody who comes to me now is it likes of somebody how you are, and I don't expect anything less of that
Absolutely.
because of who I am at this moment. And I think a lot of times people fear that because as you change, you're not gonna do the things that you used to do, and a lot of your friends like you for what you did at that time, and they want you to stay right there. But then that means your purpose with that friend might be over with,
Absolutely.
and I think that people have a hard time with that. So as you evolved as a person, was it hard for you to release friendships?
Oh man, that's a sensitive subject matter for me. I was like, anyone who knows me knows that I struggle with friendships.
Really?
I do, and I don't know if it was because I'm an only child,
Uh-huh.
but I struggle with keeping in connecting with my relationships.
When you say connecting, like no,
Keeping in contact,
I understand.
calling, texting, checking on the person. I had a conversation last night with a friend of mine. I was like, Chris, do you reach out? And I struggle with that. But to go back, yeah, I would say personal relationships, like women I was dating, that was hard to let go. And there were some people I've dated who it wasn't good for me. It changed me, and it took me out of, I really felt what my purpose is. But yeah, and it's hard.
It's hard.
Because when we change, like you said, people, they start to look at us different, but we don't want them to look at us different. But we have to change. We can't stop that process.
Right.
Especially when you have that calling. For example, if you have that calling to get healthier, then you need to be around people that are promoting health.
Right.
Right. Or if I want to lose weight, then you need to be around people that want to lose weight. But if you really want to grow and develop, your circle is going to have
To change.
unless the people that you're with are willing to change with you.
Right.
And most people don't change at the same time. Either Kevin, you're ahead and I'm here, and I'm holding you back. But you might be trying to bring me up, but then you're gonna have to make the decision. Okay, I just need to go ahead and move on,
Right.
and just hope and pray at some point you'll see it.
Right.
But to answer your question, I say yes and no. Yes and no.
Okay.
I mean, some relationships were a little bit more difficult to let go. Some of them needed to be let go, and I did not let them go. And then I found myself going down a path I didn't want to go down.
Yeah, I think a lot of times you're right. It's sometimes by natural progression, it's goes you just separate, and it's never been like a falling out or anything like where you just go in different directions. But it's the ones that you trying to hold on to that knowing you need to let it go.
Right.
And because they stuck there and you go in a whole other direction.
Yeah.
And they're not trying to go where you're going.
Absolutely.
And you gotta be okay with that.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part because y'all might have been super close, super connected. But and I learned this when I went to go see Lisa Nichols that most relationships, even with family members, are purposeful.
Yes.
And when the purpose of that relationship ends, you gotta release it.
You do.
And if you try to hold on to it, when the purpose of the relationship is already over, the dynamics of the relationship is not gonna ever be the same.
Nope, it won't.
And so, and it makes it worse because then by the time the universe is gonna make it to where you gonna end up not liking the person in order for you to sever the ties with the person, because other thing that he's been trying to do, he's been trying to let you do it yourself, and you're not choosing to do it. So he's gonna force it.
He's gonna force it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that to me, that's a tough topic for a lot of us with relationships, because I know people that are in relationships and don't need to be in those relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, they're being held back.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't see it. And a lot of it could be, well, I'm getting older and I don't want to go back into the dating world.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have when you want to serve a larger purpose in life, sometimes you have to let go of those relationships. And unfortunately, a lot of great talented people have allowed relationships to hold them back.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people all the time, the person that you're with needs to be your biggest cheerleader. They need
Absolutely.
to be encouraged. They have to have your back.
Yeah.
Right? If they don't have your back, then it might be best for you to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get to that next level.
Right. I agree. I agree because like I'm single, but I have great women
Right.
around me that understand my vision
Mm-hmm.
and are great cheerleaders for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fine with that at this moment.
Right.
Now if somebody comes along and could do that for me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm cool with that too.
Mm-hmm.
But, at this moment, I think when you, like you see, when you got that purpose, you got that calling, you got to be able to do that and focus that.
Absolutely.
And other things will come along when it's time for you to have it.
Absolutely.
And not try to force it.
Yep.
And I think some of us want that love with the white picket fence,
Mm-hmm.
and it might not be time for you.
Right.
It might be time for you just to fully focus on you and your purpose and what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times when we get that relationship comes in, it distracts you.
Absolutely.
And he might not want you to be distracted at this present moment.
Absolutely.
So
I agree with you, kid. I get asked all the time, like, why are you single?
mhm.
And I've been single now for, 3 years?
Mhm.
3 years I've been single.
So have you been married before?
I've never been married
Okay.
before. I was in a relationship. I didn't work out. But going back to what you were saying is it is not, I won't say it's because of me. People
Mhm.
say it is, but it's not. But, when you find your purpose,
Mhm.
then you start to understand what type of person that you need.
Yep.
Because the last thing you need is for anyone to come into your life and to hold you back.
Right.
And like you said, and a lot of us, we force relationships.
Mhm.
We force relationships
Yep.
that are not meant to be in existence.
Exactly.
And
I've
it
done that.
causes us to go the complete opposite direction where we're supposed to go.
And who you are.
And who you were supposed to be with.
Right.
And I believe that, God gives us free choices.
Mhm.
He's like, all right, well, Chris, if you want to be with this person, so be it. But if you just be a little patient, if you focus on your purpose, then I'm going to have this person for you. So don't worry about what people say. They're going to wonder why you single. I got you. You just have to stay focused.
Mm-hmm.
But as well as I know, how many men have fallen by the wayside because of bad relationships
Mhm.
that it caused them to turn into people that wasn't them.
Mhm.
They did things that was not them and caused them to fall.
Mm-hmm.
They made bad decisions
Mhm.
because of the women that they were dealing with. So
Mhm.
I totally agree with you.
Right.
And when you're on that path of focus, you have a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to say, okay, well, I'm going to have to put this to the side.
Yeah.
I have to stay focused. Really, what's more important?
Right.
Because God's will is going to be done regardless. Right.
Exactly.
So I might as well just go ahead and just go with the flow. And then if that person comes, great. If they don't, that's fine. But at the end of the day, if he has me on a specific mission, like he has you on a specific mission,
Mm-hmm.
then we have to obey to that.
Right.
And we have to stay focused on that.
Right. And it's funny you said that because, and how the way you said some things, it makes a lot of sense. I co-authored a book last year, and I'm still promoting it now, and it's called 20 Beautiful Men. So it's 20 men who have short stories about our journey, how we become who we are.
Mm-hmm.
So I told my story of how I became the wellness architect and all that kind of stuff, and how I became a life coach and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And initially, a friend of mine, who's like one of my biggest cheerleaders, her grandmother, she was ill.
Mm-hmm.
And I was living in Indianapolis at the time, and I said, I'm going to come back to Detroit to go see her.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and spent the day with her and talked, and she talked about how I have grown as a man and how I matured. And she said that she could sense that I'm going to be in the ministry.
Mm.
And I'm like, what?
Right.
Because, I was a party boy. I loved liquor. I loved the
Right.
women. I loved the bar.
Right.
That was not me.
Right.
I didn't go to church like that.
Right.
I'm like, what is you talking about?
Right.
And that just threw me for a loop. And I couldn't get that out of my mind. But now, hindsight is 2020. This is a ministry.
It is a ministry.
What I do.
It is.
And so I'm like, wow, she was right. You know, it's not the typical ministry that I thought it was. You know, I was thinking about, you want me to be at a church,
In the pulpit.
put in the pulpit. I said that's not going to happen. But I have this.
Yeah.
I had this, and, you know, I use social media to inspire people. And, you know, when people ask me what's my purpose, I say I'm here to inspire, educate, and motivate people to create the best version of themselves.
There you go.
And so I thanked her, because if she never put that on me, I probably never did that.
Absolutely.
So what made you realize that was for you?
Oh, wow. So I always like to say I've always been a servant leader. So when I graduated from college, I started working for the Department of Labor as a career counselor.
Okay.
So I've always had that passion to give. And when I was in high school, it was like, well, Chris, what do you want to do? I just want to help people. Like, well, you got to be a little bit more specific than that. But everything that I've done, from, of course, career counselor to law enforcement, has been involved as a servant leader. And I serve in my church. So I'm a deacon at my church.
Okay. What church you go to?
North Avenue Presbyterian Church.
Okay.
And when it really hit me was probably about, I want to say, a year ago, because I got to a point where I wanted to find my purpose. Like, why am I on this earth?
Right.
Like, I knew that it wasn't just to make a little money and to buy a car and to have a house. I felt that my purpose was a lot bigger than that. And so I started to think about, what is something that I have been doing for years that I can be able to give back. And, you know, amazing enough, God laid it out for me. I went to the John Maxwell certification program, and that was a very huge investment.
Very huge.
It was a very huge investment.
Very huge. I'm saving up for that right now.
It was a huge investment. I mean, I could have taken that $7,000 and put it to something else, but when you have that drive to want to serve your purpose, because I think at the end of the day, I always like to ask people, what's your legacy?
Right.
Like, when you die, what are they going to say about you at your funeral?
Right.
And I want people to say, well, Chris Milton, he was that guy that wanted to give back. You know, he wanted to help people any way that he possibly could. And that's how I want to be remembered. And, you know, the cool thing I was saying about my father, he had his own magazine company back in the 70s called What's Happening. And he was the editor, the photographer, and he wrote about self-development in the 80s now. He was a black-owned business owner in 1978. And he wanted to enrich the community. Now, when he passed away, he was about 33 years old. But at that point, he had impacted so many people. And so for me, I'm taking what he started, and I'm just moving forward with it.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So, health-wise, what would you, because you know, we beginning of the new year, the gyms are packed. What would you tell people who says 2018 is going to be the year to lose weight and have a healthy lifestyle? What would be the first things you want to tell them?
First thing is have some goals. I don't believe in New Year's resolutions because they're so short-lived. But you have to have a goal, and you know, those goals have to be tangible goals. You know, goals that you have dates of completion.
Absolutely.
And why? I always like to say why, because if you don't have a why, if your why just to lose weight is just to look better,
Right.
then you're not going to make it to June.
Right.
But look at it as more of a lifestyle change. You know, we hear on these quick lose weight fads. Jenny Craig got all these different programs out here, and people are like, I don't know what to do. I'll just choose this one.
Right.
But that's what it's a fad. I want people to understand that, look at it as a lifestyle. So first, you got to have goals.
Right.
You got to understand your why, and you have to have a plan of action. So when I went to the John Maxwell certification program, one of the speakers was like, well, do you have a personal growth and development plan? And I was like, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
What's a personal growth and development plan? I mean, of course, I went to college and all, but it's different being intentional with it, though.
Right.
Really having an intention of growing and developing. And so goals, have a focus, ask why, have a plan,
Right.
and then have an accountability partner.
I agree.
Have somebody who's going to hold you
Accountable. Exactly. I will agree with you with almost everything you said. I think for them, I go back to, I think everybody needs to get a journal.
Yes.
What I tell people do they don't even have to buy a real elaborate journal, but they can even buy a notebook and journal in the notebook. But on the first page of your journal, put 2018, and you break down your goals for 2018 for the different areas of your life. So personal development, health and wellness, spirituality, education, career,
Yes.
every aspect of your life.
Yep.
Write down your goals. The reason why I say write them down is because you can speak it, but as you speak it, it disappears in the air.
Yes.
But when you write it down, and you write it down in your journal, you have to go back and look at it. So it's a way of holding you accountable to what you're trying to accomplish for yourself. I do agree with giving yourself a date and try to accomplish it. I also agree with getting an accountability partner. What I recommend people, and something I say I'm going to do better this year, is I believe that everybody should have a mastermind
Yes.
partner or a mastermind group. Those who don't know what that is, a mastermind group is a group of people. It could be from as low as 2 to 10 people, and y'all meet once a week or twice a month, however you want to do it. You guys describe it. And how I did mine is each of us take turns leading the group, and we have a hot seat. And the hot seat is one person, like it might be Chris's turn to be in the hot seat. So wherever Chris's goals are, we would like, Chris, what's your short-term goals? He tells us what short-term goals is. Where are you at with that? Okay. What's your 5-year goal? He tells us what your goal is. Where you at with that? So then we're trying to hold you accountable with that. And then at the end of it, we go around, ask people, do you want us to pray for you? What's it we want us to pray for you for? And we'll write it down, so we put you in our prayers.
Right.
And that works a lot for, that is big. That's I lived my best life when I did that. So I said I'm gonna really be centered and try to find some people to really do that with this way, and do it the way I really wanted to do it. So but I would say that, and just hold yourself accountable for it, and choose you. And like you said, I think ask yourself why you're doing it. Why are you losing weight?
Yep.
I think a lot of times people do it for the wrong reasons. A person's always like the main reason why they're losing weight. If they're single, they try and get back into shape to attract somebody else. But once they get that person,
that's it. Right?
That's it.
Yeah.
So what's your reason? And if your intention is to lose weight, is not to really for your best self, then you need to rethink why you're doing it.
Yeah.
So that's why I would say, nutrition-wise, what would you recommend?
Start slow. Too many people want to go 0 to 100. They want to wake up and say, "I want to be vegan." It doesn't work that. It doesn't work like that. I've been on this journey now for like 10 plus years. 10 plus years I've been doing it, and I'm still trying to get it right. I always recommend people to start slow. Start slow. Don't make drastic changes, because your body has to recalculate itself. So if I've been eating meat for 20 years and all of a sudden I want to be a vegan, now some people can do it. Most of us can't do it.
I couldn't do it.
No, because it puts your body in a shock. Because for 20 years, it's just like somebody who's been on high blood pressure medication. For years the doctors were like, "Chris, we need you to get on high blood pressure medication." And I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'm good." Well, I'm good. You take someone who's been on high blood pressure medication for 20 years, and then you take them off.
Right.
Then what ends up happening? The body goes into shock. And so as far as the nutritional aspect, I like to keep it simple. I like to say I'm a low budget vegan.
Explain that to somebody.
I am a low budget vegan. You look in my refrigerator, it's just spinach, tomatoes, avocados.
Really?
That's it. I mean, that's it. I'm very low budget. I don't want to have to put a lot of thought process into what I'm going to be eating.
Okay.
Now, of course, for me, I have a lot of tolerance as far as I don't get bored because I understand why I'm eating the foods that I'm eating.
Right. So you're more of a creature of habit, so you can eat the same things.
I can eat the same things over and be perfectly fine with it, but I've also changed my mindset too because Kevin, I want to be at my best. I want to be at 150%. So I want to make sure that I'm getting my fruits and my vegetables in. And I want to make sure that I'm drinking my water. I'm taking my multivitamin. I'm doing my wheatgrass. I mean, I'm really big on wheatgrass.
I am too.
I love wheatgrass. And if anybody out there is not on wheatgrass, you need to some wheatgrass.
Wheatgrass.
Yes.
I'm big on wheatgrass. I'm big on moringa.
Okay.
I'm big on spirulina and chlorella. All those seaweeds because they're really high and they're really good for it. But wheatgrass is it for me because it gives me all kinds of energy. Oh yeah, cleanses you out. Yeah. It's good for everything. Yeah. And I remember I used to be at LA Fitness, and this they have like a juice bar in there, and she had wheatgrass. She did them in shots, but then she also did it where she might put some wheatgrass and she'll put like 100% fruit juice, like either pineapple or something like that. And a lot of folks over there didn't know what wheatgrass was, but I would tell my class, get that before you take my class. And they took it and they had all kind of energy and they made it through the class with no problem. So she came to me and she's like, okay, thank you for promoting the wheatgrass. So since you did it for me, your class will get a discount for 30 days to get it because you promoted it, and everybody from your class is coming in there to get before there. Right. And they was like, well, thank you. You know, well, what does it do? And I said, now I would post what wheatgrass does and all that kind of stuff. And they were like, we didn't even know. I said, food heals you. And so if you know y'all taking the wrong things, that's preventing you from being your best self. So the darker the greens, the better for you.
Absolutely. So I had this tonic that I make that has helped me with my blood pressure.
Which one is that?
So it's wheatgrass. But what I do is I add wheatgrass, it's ginger.
So you juice your own wheatgrass?
I juice my own wheatgrass. So I go to Arden Gardens in East Point, and I get me a bag of wheatgrass every week.
Okay.
And I'll spend about 30 minutes and I'll juice my wheatgrass.
So is there a special juicer for that?
Yeah, it is. So the one I have is the Omega 8006. And it specifically is for it juice, but it also is for wheatgrass.
Okay.
And in the wheatgrass I put ginger, I have ginger root, I have turmeric.
Yep.
And then I put black pepper and a little bit of spirulina.
Okay.
And I swish with the wheatgrass. See, when I first started, I used to just swallow it. Right. Until I was educated. Right. And when you swish with the wheatgrass, it goes in your gums. Right. You know, we floss, there's open pockets. So it gets into our systems a lot faster. Right. Because by the time that we swallow and get to our stomachs, we're still getting some of the nutrients, but you're not getting as much as we should. And by me doing that, I won't just say this from the wheatgrass from decreasing my blood pressure, but it's helped. Right. And I have energy. And I feel better. And periodically I'll get a little sinus issues here and there. But for the most part, it's the miracle juice. Yeah.
I'm similar. So I when I do my detox, I have them do a juice or a smoothie. And I have like I have them get one of those like superfood green powders. And I told them to make sure that it has like wheatgrass in it, spirulina, and chlorella. If they have moringa, cool. If not, back moringa on the side, and they'll put that in there along with some ginger root, like you said. So turmeric. I haven't put cayenne pepper in there because cayenne pepper help thin out your bloodstream and all this kind of stuff. Beets, and then spinach or kale, something like that. And they see that, like this one guy, he did it for 7 days, and he ate raw. The rest of the night, he did that juice every day and then he ate raw and drank plenty of water, and he had his first blood pressure check where he was normal,
Nice.
and he was like, "What?" He was like, "Always higher than what you said yours was."
Ooh.
And I'm like, wow. And so they were like, what are you doing? He said, I was doing this detox, and I ate raw for 7 days. And I'm like, dang. And so it just showed me that I was on the right path, or showing them, telling them what to do. But it's the thing is, they gotta keep on doing it. You know, once you get down, your blood pressure normal, that means you gotta keep on doing the same thing. You can't go back to your old lifestyle, which I think is the problem a lot of times.
It's the problem, and also being consistent.
Okay.
Consistency is hard for many of us, and you have to look at this type of lifestyle as a medicine. So like when you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you to take your high blood pressure medication every day, and then you don't do it, well, you're disrupting the chemical makeup in your body. So it's the same thing. So if you're only doing your wheatgrass once a week, twice a week, then it's not going to be as effective as you're doing it at least every day, every other day.
Yeah, exactly. And so I take it every day. I take the powder, but I've been looking at some juicers. Oh yeah. So I can do it the natural way.
And you use it for your skin too.
Yeah.
So I just started using it for my skin.
Really?
Yeah.
So how you do it for your skin?
So what I do is, I'll split it up. I'll take half for internal and then external, and then I just use a little cotton ball, rub it on my face, let it sit.
Really?
Yeah. I just started doing that.
Cause I know my buddy, in California they do everything, and so cause they use this thing called chloroxygen, something like that. It's like a chlorophyll that you could put in your water, so you have chlorophyll water. Okay. And so they do that, but then they really big in California on like activated charcoal. So you could use it for internal and external. So they make face masks for your skin. It's supposed to be really good for your skin. Yeah. And so I'm like, dang. It's a lot that they do out in the West Coast, because it's really big. Holistic health is really big out there compared to over here. Right. So it's like, so I learn out there. I go talk to them a lot, so I can learn more, so I can bring it back here and try to help them out. Yeah. So water intake, how big is it for them to have water?
Oh my gosh! I mean, water. Of course, so we're drinking some water here.
Right.
Many of us don't drink enough water, and me included. One thing good about the vegan lifestyle, when you're eating a lot of plant-based raw, you're still getting a good amount of water from the spinach and the kale. Right. But for me, is I try to drink mainly water. I stay away from sodas. If I do a juice, there's going to be a juice that I've juiced, or either I'll go to Arden Gardens. But mainly, I try to stick with water, though.
Okay. Okay. So how much water does somebody drink a day?
Something I know is this whole 64 ounce, but everybody is built different. Yeah. And I know with me, I can't drink 64 ounces because I'll be in the bathroom every 15 minutes. I
always went by the rule that you're supposed to drink half of your body weight.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So like me being 200, I try to drink 100 or close to a gallon a day. But like you said, I think once I started doing that regularly every day, my body got used to it, so I didn't have to run to the bathroom as much. But for somebody want to know, how hard is it for you to be 95% raw?
Oh man, so I had to say,
I guess that number is like, it's hard for people to wrap around them that you don't cook you don't eat hardly any cooked food. Yeah,
and don't get me wrong, I do my cheat meals. I mean, life is too short. I can't be a vegan in heaven, and then in the next life. Right. But once you feel the benefits of it, right, it's hard to turn back. A lot of it is mindset, Kevin. I'll be honest with you, and it's a lot of discipline involved. I mean, you come to my house and you look in my refrigerator and you're like, "What is this? Like, where's your food?" But I really enjoy it. That's the thing. Like, I enjoy preparing a salad, and I've had friends come over and they're like, "Man, Chris, like your salad is good." I'm like, well, yeah, it better be because that's all I eat.
Mm-hmm.
But starting out, it was a little bit difficult, but it was hard because my body was trying to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always fatigued. I was always lightheaded.
Mm-hmm.
But now, since my body has is recalculated to what I'm doing now,
Mm-hmm.
it's not hard. And mainly my cooked foods come from when I go to my mom's house.
Okay.
My mom has made a complete transition with her health.
Mm-hmm.
She deals with high blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
She is more Mediterranean.
Okay.
Meaning that she does a little bit of meats periodically,
Mm-hmm.
but the olive oil,
Olive
things of
oil,
that
the
nature.
lemon juice,
Absolutely.
oregano, all kind of stuff.
But if she cooks, I eat. Because
Okay.
that's just disrespectful. But
Right.
she'll typically make foods that I can eat. She'll
Right.
do raw. She'll do a little bit of cooked.
Okay.
But for me, I have a why. One, because I don't want to get on high blood pressure
Mhm.
medication,
Right.
and two, it makes me. When things make you feel good, then you just keep doing it.
So when you start your transition, let's say vegetarian 1st,
Mhm.
did you tell people that you was doing it? The reason why I asked that is because I think a lot of times when you tell people that you're going vegetarian or you're going vegan, the first thing is why.
Right.
Why you want to do that? Why you want to give up all this good food and all this kind of stuff?
Right.
And then that energy that they put out to you can convince you not to do it. So
Yeah.
did you tell people?
Well, the people that I was around knew that they noticed, because I used to be a big chicken breast broccoli guy.
Okay.
When I was 240, that's all I ate.
Mm-hmm.
But over a period of time, people, and they will make fun of me. The guy, like when I was a police officer, they'll make fun of me, kind of the food. They're like, Milton, what you got eating? What you eating today?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be a strong individual to
Mm-hmm.
be able to maintain this type of lifestyle, because not only the temptation, but people are always like, why are you doing this?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, some people knew, but when I transitioned, Kevin, I did it slow. So
Mhm.
it was 5 days I did veggies,
Mhm.
Saturday, Sunday was meats.
Right.
And I did that for a while. And then
Mhm.
it went from 6 days veggies to 1 day meats.
Mhm.
So it was a transition period
Right.
for me. And then it went from once a month. Like my mom makes these beef ribs, or she used to make them, and they were just so good. And it was
Mhm.
hard for me to give it up. So I just did that once a month.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, you're going to have the comment. And then plus I lost a lot of weight.
Mm-hmm.
So people thought I was sick.
Right.
I remember one time one of my coworkers was like, Chris, are you sick? I'm like, nah, I'm not sick. But it's a lot. You have to be strong.
Mhm.
You really do.
Okay.
You have to be strong.
Okay. So what would you tell people who are interested in becoming a vegan? Because that's the new hot thing right now. I think a lot of people saw What the Health, and that scared them.
Right.
And so they, a lot of them are looking into becoming vegans. What would you recommend?
Start slow and do your research. You have to figure out what's going to work for your body. Because see, what I do might not necessarily work for someone else.
Right.
So I don't really cast or share or promote what I do because it works for me.
Right.
But I will say, do your research. Like I told you, I almost had that near-death experience. That was not cool.
So did you see What the Health?
I did.
So what was your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, I'm glad that information is out now.
Right.
It takes a lot to change people's mindsets.
Mhm.
That documentary did that. It
Mhm.
changed people's mindsets. The question is for how long, though.
Right.
I mean, it's good in the beginning, but then we go back to those old habits. And I
Right.
think it goes back, Kevin, is putting in those fundamentals.
Mhm.
Now, you understanding why you're doing it, and now you have a reason to do it, but you have to put fundamentals in there. Like
Yeah.
you said, the journaling, the goal writing, the accountability, and the masterminds.
Mhm.
And also looking at it as a lifestyle versus just this quick fix.
Right. So, as a black man, what would you recommend for us to know? Because we're like the lowest on the totem pole, about how we're treated, how we looked at. What would you recommend for black men to become their greatest self for 2018?
Put away the pride.
Mhm.
Put away the pride. When I was going through my depression, one thing I did learn is that when a lot of black men, we don't want to seek help because it's almost a sign of weakness.
Mhm.
Like I would never come to you and say, well, Kevin, can you help me? Just because you're another man. I'm supposed to figure it all out.
Mhm.
I would say you got to swallow that pride.
Yeah.
You got to be able to humble yourself.
Yeah.
When I went to go get counseling, I had to humble myself. I had
because the reality is, it's probably the same for you. When I coach people, majority of the time it's females. And men may need it, but they will never go get it.
Nope.
You know, even with health coaching, they may need it, would not get it.
Nope.
Life coaching, never gonna do it.
Yeah.
But you know, I'll watch Iyanla Fix My Life a couple of times, and it brought me back because I actually got coached by her and her team. So what those guys went through was like real, because something similar to how we did it when it was online. But to see what those guys went through, just took me back from when I got coached, because those are some serious issues that I don't think people really understand that we are as men go through. Because when I was going through it, I think the top 2 issues for men and black men was abandonment issues and molestation. And those are topics that nobody really want to talk about, especially molestation. But even with the abandonment issues, they don't want to talk about it because it's feel like everybody feels like you just need to man up and just keep pushing, because at this day and age, most people don't have a father. And that doesn't mean they doesn't feel or and stuff like that, even though you shouldn't allow it to stop you being your best self. But you guys still be able to deal with the issue, because at some point, whenever your father left you, it's when you emotionally stopped. And you gotta get to that 13-year-old man and figure out how you felt and what would you want to say to your father if you had a chance to see him. And I think with the way society has been, and society has created this thought of men, that men can't have feelings, men can't, show any kind of vulnerability. For you to be as vulnerable as you have been today, it's rare, because most people don't want to do that. And so, how can we change the mindset? Because even women have not adapted that mindset that men can't be vulnerable.
Which causes a lot of relationship issues too.
It does.
It does, because communication and I don't know. It's just one of those. I think it's just been a generation of just, especially with black men, where we're the man of the family. Like we're supposed to have it all together, and for me to go to someone else or go to another man for help is not even a question. Again, is putting away that pride. I mean, that's why we're dying out so quickly. I mean, you look at black men from 65 to 70. It's very few men out there that are active and that are healthy, and a lot of it's because we don't want to go to the doctor. I mean, forget a health coach or personal growth and development coach. We don't even want to go to the doctor to get checked out, because we're fear of finding out that we're sick or something's wrong with us. So, I mean, it's you and I to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, my dad is 76, and I think they tried to put him on blood pressure pills, but he really didn't need it. They wanted to push it because they did his blood pressure and it was high. But I knew the reason why it was high, because he drinks green tea every day, but he put like 2 and 3 tea bags in there, so all that caffeine has blood pressure. So when he went to the doctor, he already did the green tea, so he had his blood pressure elevated. I knew that part. And so they tried to put him blood pressure medication, but he had been juicing or blending forever. So I just told him to start adding beets and cayenne pepper to the thing, and the blood pressure went back to normal. So at 76 years old, he's now on all kind of medications. He's very active. He walks and all that kind of stuff. So he's more active at his age as some of the ones that's maybe 50 and 40. He looks better than some of his nephews that's in their 40s and 50s. And he is like the cause of why I'm who I am. Like, why, even with you not knowing it, your father was the cause of who you are today as a cop, as someone in the community, because your father. and you didn't really even know that. But I'm who I am. I just took who my father is and just elevated to another process.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because of who he is, because he's been on this whole health kick forever. And so I just took it, what he taught me, and that's when I got the whole holistic thing, because he's not really on medications, and like I always suffer from headaches, so I could never. I told him I had a headache, I had to drink peppermint tea, all this kind of stuff, and so now I embrace it. But before I hated it, but now with the understanding of what we went to school, I embrace it, and I just think that's just the power of the father figure being in your life for you and for me. And I just think, you know, you and I have to do, you know, keep on doing, like you said, doing what we're supposed to do, and being more active in the community to try to do, to, you know, not just the kids, but also empowering the men as well.
Absolutely.
So what's next for you?
What's next? Well, of course, I have the health and wellness retreat.
Mm-hmm.
My goal for 2018 is to start working with churches
Okay.
to implement a personal growth and development plan. You know, from leadership, I believe leadership is an important part of personal growth, because if you don't have the ability to lead yourself, then how are you going to lead everyone else around you?
Right.
So if you can't get yourself up in the morning to go to the gym, or if you can't lead yourself on eating healthier, you know, also implementing different tips on how to be healthy from a mind, spirit, and physical aspect.
So you're going to focus more on smaller churches, because a lot of the mega churches probably have like their own little thing going on or whatever.
Yeah. So I want to focus on the small to medium-sized churches that are willing to allow me to come in and to implement a program for them. You know, even some of these small businesses to implement some type of wellness or personal growth and development plan, and also in the local communities, in the libraries. I still do my 3 to 4 free classes in the community once a year.
Okay.
That's important to me as well, because I know everybody can't afford, you know, our services. So those who can, I still want to be able to empower them with some information.
Okay. So this is the question I ask everybody. So I believe there's unlimited opportunities and possibilities in life. The only limits you have is what you put on yourself. So if there was no limits on you, what would be your ultimate goals for yourself?
My ultimate goal was, as far as from a business standpoint,
All aspects of your life.
Man, so I want Project Health and Wellness to continue on after I'm dead and gone.
Okay.
You know, I want this to be a legacy. I want somebody else to take this concept and to continue to extend it, and not only from a community aspect, but from corporations. I would love to get involved with law enforcement to teach classes on work-life balance. I know, as you see, there are a lot of police officers that are unhealthy. A lot of us are, you know, dying of cancer, and it's because of the stress.
Right.
You know, at some point in this venture, I would love to have a physical location where, you know, one side would be like a small gym for physical training, a room for yoga and meditation, auditorium to bring in individuals to speak on health and wellness, personal growth and development, and then also have a section for coaches. So coaches that are, you know, certified and want to be able to coach. So everything is all inclusive. So if you want to come in and, you know, learn about juicing or how to prepare a vegan meal, then you have it there. If you want to come in to learn about just basic weight training, yoga, meditation, everything is inclusive.
Okay. All right.
So that would be the ultimate goal for Project Health and Wellness.
Okay, so that's the Project Health and Wellness. What's the ultimate goal for Chris Milton?
Ultimate goal for Chris Milton, to impact as many people as I possibly can before I die.
Okay.
I want to be able to spread this message from my experiences, that they can take what I've been through, if it's depression, if it's high blood pressure, whatever the case may be, and use that information to empower themselves.
Okay. So as we get ready to wind down, I'm gonna let you speak from your heart, whoever you want to tell the audience. It don't have to be about health. It could be about whatever you feel like you want them to hear. Take as much time as you want.
I say love yourself. Self-love. You got to take care of yourself. You know, I've been around death, and, you know, I've had a couple of near-death experiences. And life is unpredictable. It's unpredictable, and we don't know how much time we have. I mean, every time you turn on the news, you hear tragedy. You hear someone dying of cancer, or someone having a fatal heart attack or stroke, like Amanda Davis.
Right.
And then she didn't see that coming.
Right.
And we won't see it coming. But the time that we have, we need to focus on improving ourselves to be the best that we can be while we're here, and then to also be able to impart people with that information. It wouldn't be fair if I died and took all this knowledge I have and just took it to the grave.
Right.
And so I want to encourage anyone out there that's listening is to focus on yourself. I mean, we don't know how much time we have. I mean, it's just we're all on borrowed time.
Exactly.
I can leave here and something can happen to me, but I do know that every moment and minute I have, I want to make sure I cherish it. I want to cherish it with the people that I'm with, and I want to continue to keep making an impact. And I also want to tell people to tap into your own passions, your purpose, and give back. But then don't get so caught up in numbers and thinking it's going to go from 0 to 100. If you have a gift, then share it with the world. And it doesn't matter how many people you impact, because you're going to impact somebody. And I tell people all the time, I'm not relatable to everyone. Everybody can't relate to me. And that's why I like to interview people that are relatable from different areas of their lives, from battling cancer to overcoming depression. But we all have a gift. We all have talents, and it's up to us to share it with the world. And if we don't, I believe it's not only a disservice to God, but it's a disservice to the people, to the world.
Excellent. What I would say is, as we embark on a new year, leave 2017 in 2017.
Absolutely.
Only thing you bring over into 2018 is the experiences you learned, what you learned from those experiences, and apply it into 2018. But whatever happened in 2017 is left in 2017, and you take 2018 is a new year to create new opportunities, new opportunities to learn and to grow as a person.
Absolutely.
I believe that if we learn that every day you ask yourself, you ask God, what do you expect me to learn today? So then you always in a state of learning, but also ask God, how can I be a blessing to someone else today?
Absolutely. Yes.
You then therefore your intentions today is to always learn and also be a blessing to someone else.
Absolutely.
And like you said, and then also figure out what your purpose is and what your why is. Yep. And once you understand that, then everything else will go full circle. Be willing to be okay with change.
Yes.
And know what change comes different circles of people, and be okay with that.
Absolutely.
And know that your greatest self is for you, and for you to have, as long as you grasp it. So you could pray for it all day long, but if you don't put the proper action into it, it's not gonna come to you.
It's not. You made a good point. The action part.
The action. We pray all day long, but if you don't put the actual action in, it's not gonna do anything good for you.
It's not.
And you gotta be okay with that. Yeah. And so I just wish everybody to just create the best version of themselves, mind, body, and spirit. I challenge you to go out today. If you don't have one, go out today and buy 2 journals. One that you journal your daily thoughts in.
Right.
Write your goals down, and then the second journal is for your gratitude. Be grateful every day about what you accomplished, even if it's a bad day. Be grateful for today. I also challenge you to do the 15 to 15. So the 15 is before you go to bed, give yourself 15 minutes of whether it's journaling, 15 minutes of meditation, 15 minutes of reading a self-help book or the Bible, whatever you want to read, watching a YouTube video that's inspirational, 15 minutes of that.
Yeah.
Something that's positive or inspirational, because that energy is going to penetrate your body while you're sleeping.
Absolutely.
And then when you wake up, don't turn the TV on. 15 minutes again. So that's going to set the basis for what you're going to do, how you're going to be that day, and then go about your life. Because if you go to bed, like today is Love and Hip Hop Day, if you go to bed after watching all that ratchetness, all that negativity is gonna penetrate your
It will.
body, and it's gonna set the tone
Yep.
for how you see things and how you do things. And waking up and watching news is gonna set the tone too,
Absolutely.
because it's a lot of negativity.
Absolutely.
So you want control what you put into your spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and so you can know how to start your day, and then go
Absolutely.
from there. So, how can people follow you again?
Well, you can follow me on Facebook. You can friend me at Christopher Milton, or you can go to Project Health and Wellness, and you can like Project Health and Wellness, or you can follow me on Instagram.
Okay. And once again, tell them about your the retreat and when it's going to be
Yeah.
again.
So the Health and Wellness Retreat is going to be at the Trappist Monastery in Conyers, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be August 3rd to August 5th.
Okay.
You just have to call and just let them know that you want to attend the retreat.
So if they wanted to reach out to you about coaching, they just go to your Project Wellness.
Yeah, so they
website?
can go to www.projecthealthandwellness.com, or they can email me at info@projecthealthandwellness.com or chris@projecthealthandwellness.com.
Okay. All right. So anything else you want them to know before we cut it short?
Oh man, just enjoy life. I mean, life is unpredictable, and just enjoy the time we have. Stay in the present moment, and continue to keep bettering yourself every morning you get up. Think about personal growth and development.
All right. That's been Chris Milton of Project Health and Wellness, and this is your boy Kevin Thornton. Once again, if you are into doing the detox for the new year, reach out to me on Facebook, also on Instagram, The Wellness Architect. 7-day, 14-day, and 30-day detoxes. If you still want to buy the book, 20 Beautiful Men, you can also reach out to me at that as well to buy the book. Great things is going to happen to the two of us as individuals. I do believe that the connection, I believe whoever I attract is a purpose and a reason why. So I believe this year it'll be something where we're going to do great things as individual men, but also collaboration as well.
Absolutely, Kevin. I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. And so tune in next week. We're going to have somebody doing raw foods. So with that being said, be great, be you, and be authentic. And we are out.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.